Hi, I'm Hannah. Thanks for watching. Okay, today friends, I have a project update video for you if you have not watched before. I'm Hannah. I'm a mom and a knitter in North Carolina. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you for watching again. Today I will share my finished objects. I have quite a few. I will share my works in progress and then new acquisitions that I got between this video and the last project updates video, which was 2 weeks ago. I will link that if you haven't seen what I've been working on. I also just wanted to say thank you for so many kind words and comments on my last video. I just really appreciated it, and I have responded to some, although not all, because they are very kind and it makes me emotional reading and responding to all of them. But I did want to say thank you so much for all that kindness that you sent my way. Also, I'm going to apologize if this video is choppy. The mowers are here. They've been here like every day this week, I guess because there's so many leaves. But anyway, so I'm gonna pause it if it gets really loud. So hopefully you won't be able to hear too much of that. But I still wanted to record and share with you my projects before Christmas. If you celebrate, Merry Christmas, that is coming up. And then kind of the New Year. So this might be my last video for the year. And then at the end, I'll talk about kind of where I'm going next in January and what my videos will be like then. Okay, let's get started. I have so many finished objects, I had to make a list so that I did not forget them. Some of them I have here with me and I can show you, and some of them are wrapped up or ready to be gifted or already been gifted. But I'll tell you first what I'm wearing, because that is a finished object. I am wearing my Nostalgia tee by Emma of Bloom and Create. I knit it in Vovo by Rosa Pomar, and I got it from Fancy Tiger Crafts in Denver. So I use the colorways Lamb, which is the white, Fennel is the brown, and the pink is just called pink. I think some places it's called light pink and some places it's just called pink. So I'm really happy with it. I've talked about before, like the fit I was a little concerned with. I think it, I added more ease than intended, like in the pattern, and I think it's made it just like a little more like bulky. I'm hoping that it will soften out after I've worn it. This is the first time I've worn it. And so the blocking is like pretty, like it's, you can see where it's folded. It's pretty distinct. And so I'm hoping it will just, the wool kind of soften up and relax a little bit more as time goes on. But I'll have to wear it more for it to do that. So I am really happy with the fit. I don't think I want to modify it. I talked about changing the neckline and doing like folded neckband, because this is kind of like getting me a little bit right here. But I think that the softening up from wearing it more could help with that as well. It's a wonderful pattern. The color work is lovely. I definitely recommend it. So my next finished object is more Playtime Mittens by Amy Scher. And these are called Clara's Playtime Mittens. I think maybe after her daughter, I'm not sure. But I made these for my nephew. So these will go under the Christmas tree after I wrap them, and his hands are a lot bigger than my son, so when you compare these, there's quite a difference. My sons are like this big, and my nephews are this big. These almost fit me, but I did have his hand measurements, and so I'm hoping that they will be correct and they will fit. But I think they're very cute. I modified them again not to have the flap, just because, like at their age, it's easier to just have one thing to put on and go. But as they get older, I think it'll be easier to have like flaps and whatnot. But yeah, his favorite color is brown, which is kind of funny for a 3-year-old to have his favorite color is brown. So anyway, these needed to be brown, and I don't have a lot of brown yarn that hasn't been used already, or that's not like mohair. And so I found my big like pile of Drops Lima, and this is pretty brown. I'm hoping he thinks it's brown. He is particular and what kind of brown he likes. He prefers a dark brown to like a tan / light brown, but this is called brown. So, but Drops Lima is alpaca wool, and I had quite a bit for a sweater, and so I'll talk about this later. But I had quite a bit for a sweater, and so I was confident that I would have enough. This used less than 1 skein, I think. Yeah. So less than 1. It was close, but it was less than 1. And I made the 3rd size for him. So he's 3. That almost fits me. And I made the 3rd size for him. They'll be a little bit big, but hopefully he's okay with that. Okay, my next finished object I don't have here with me. I finished up Alphonse the pig, my sweet little Mushin friends that I was making. I made him a sweater and a pair of pants, and I finished up the pants. I did the slip stitch color work pants that go with Alphonse, and this was a gift for a dear friend from a long time ago in my life. And yeah, it was just really sweet and special. I got to deliver it, and yeah, it went like better than I had hoped it would be. It's a very time consuming, and that often has a negative connotation, but in this sense, it's just what it is. It was time consuming and quite tedious for a gift, but it was so worth it, and I was so happy to make it. And it's off to its forever home. I was able to use yarn I already have, which was wonderful. But yeah, I do highly recommend making these. They are lovely, sweet little animals, and yeah, I'm just really happy with how it turned out. I'll put a picture in too so that you guys can see what he looked like in his final outfit. Okay, the next one I do have with me, I have some Thickness socks by Summer Lee knits, and these were knit in Sanascarn Perfect. There we go. So I added the picot. I think in my last video I was like trying to fold it down and decide if I actually liked it, but I do really like it. And I found a tutorial that Summer had made because I knit it together. I folded it down and like sewed it together. I didn't knit it together. I sewed it together to make it a little bit stretchier, but I still had trouble getting it over my foot. And so I found a tutorial that she had made for sewing down what she calls a tabbed cuff. And I did that for this, and it's so stretchy, like there's no, like it doesn't really feel like there's anything there. So I am confident that will fit over my friend's foot, but I am really happy with them. They worked up, I mean, I would say quickly, but I'm curious what you guys think. I timed myself making these because they were for a gift, and I was just curious. And so it took me 10.5 hours to make both socks. So to me, that's fairly quickly for something that's knit, and also for a pair of socks. If I was knitting fingering weight socks, it would take me so long. But I was just curious, like what that number doesn't, I just don't really know. Like, is that, I've never timed myself making fingering weight socks. So I'm just curious for you guys, do you know, like, would it be half the amount of time? Is it, you know, just a little bit less? So I'm curious what you guys think. But basically what I'm saying is, after making these DK weight socks, I don't know that I'm gonna go back and make lighter weight socks because, yeah, these were very, I mean, they would take a lot less time too if they were for me, because they would only be like here. Yeah, so I'm kind of convinced. If you haven't watched my DK weight sock video where I talk about all the patterns I almost chose to make these socks, and I'll definitely be going back and making those. I actually have quite a few of them, so I can just go back and make them. I have some yarn left over that I bought for these socks, and so that might be my first cast on for the new year, as a pair of DK weight socks for myself. Anyway, I was really happy with the pattern, very happy with the yarn, and hopefully the recipient will like them as well. Okay, another gift knit that I don't have with me is a Purl Soho Classic Ribbed Hat. This is under the tree at my parents' house. I made a hat for my dad. He wears hats all the time in the winter, like every day for as long as I can remember. And so the last couple of years, I tried to make him one for his birthday. His birthday's in January, right after Christmas. And so I try to make him one every year, but I cast it on and I thought, why not just give it to him for Christmas? He gets a lot of wear out of his hats, and like every time I see him, he's wearing one that my sister or I have made, and so it is really special to make him a hat. I'll show you here. I bought this yarn a long time ago because it looks like him, so when I see something that looks like him, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get it because I know I'm probably gonna make him a hat for his birthday or for Christmas now. So this is Woolberry Fiber Co. Berry Tweed, and the colorway is I'm Political from the Downton Abbey collection. It was a while ago. If you didn't get to buy the yarn from that, I'm so sorry. It was wildly popular, I believe. But the colorway is based on Tom, who is political. I don't know, I only watched the first 2 seasons before I was too swept into the drama and had to stop watching because it was so much. But anyway, Tom was the best character, I think. In terms of the men. Perhaps that's controversial, but anyway, I hope his name is Tom. It was a long time ago that I watched this and that the collection came out, but I do think that that's who it is. Anyway, I'm super happy with the hat. I held the yarn double to make it DK weight, and I used almost all of the yarn. I made him the second to last size. It's basically the same as the hat that I have been wearing. And I have them side by side to see like how stretched out mine is. And it's different yarn too. Mine is cashmere and wool, and his will be the berry tweed, which is wool, and then the little neps that are in the tweed. But I'm really excited. This green is like his color. So that is why I needed to get this yarn for him. And I think I got it like a year or 2 ago, but I've just been holding on to it for the perfect project. And when he tried my hat on, I knew this was the perfect project. So anyway, it's wrapped up under the tree, ready to be opened on Christmas. And then I will post a picture on Instagram with it. Because I think he does watch my videos. He's usually like a couple of weeks behind. But he keeps up with my Instagram more. So I have to wait until he opens it to post about it. And then I can. Okay, the last one I also don't have with me because I just gifted that today. I'm sure you might be gift knitting, you might not be gift knitting. I am a firm believer that if you don't want to gift knit, then you shouldn't have to gift knit. I know I keep talking about gift knits. I'm not an advocate for gift knitting. I'm not a non-advocate for gift knitting. If you want to and you feel excited about it and you don't feel like pressure or worry about it, you should totally gift knit. However, if you do not, like if you're like, I can't gift knit because it's too much, for whatever reason, then please don't. Please take care of yourself. It's your hobby, it's your yarn, it's your time, so please don't worry about that. I feel like I've maintained a much healthier relationship with gift knitting lately and enjoyed it a lot more, and so I've been making just some few small things that I have wanted to make. But the last one is this little star, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. I've seen it around a lot, and this is my entry into the Scrap Make-Along by Hip-Knit Hooray, is her Instagram handle. She's running a make-along for people to use up their scraps, and mostly to use them like for ornaments and stuff. And I love following the hashtag. There's so many adorable things. I don't have the bandwidth to make a ton of adorable things, but I did make this little star, and I gifted it today to a dear friend of mine who has been a friend for a very, very long time. And it was just really special to, like, I knit the star and then Ollie helped pick out the yarn from my big bag of like scraps and stuff it with that yarn and then sew it up. And so we got to gift it to her together, and it was just very sweet. So I really enjoyed doing that, and I don't know if I'll make more. The pattern itself was very intuitive, but the cast on was very fiddly. I did the recommended cast on. Since it's a free pattern, I feel like I can talk about it, but it was very fiddly, and I feel like that took me as long as actually knitting the star, like doing the cast on and the pickup stitches. So it was like fairly simple, but the cast on itself was like, I felt like I had to hold it like up to here to try and make it work. But it was still really fun to knit. I like the techniques, and it was nice to stuff that little star with all of the scraps from previous projects and things like that, and then hand it off to a dear friend. Ollie loved giving it to our friend. Okay, that is all my finished objects. I know that's a lot. I've been surprised with the speed of like smaller things because this year I've mostly been knitting garments, and so knitting like a hat or a pair of socks or a star ornament, like wow, that took like I said, these socks still took 10.5 hours like of me working on them, but that's way less than a garment. And so it's like, these little mittens or a hat or something like that. So it's actually been quite enjoyable for me in the last like week or two to make these gift knits, because I've been just kind of rediscovering the joy of casting something on and working on it for just a few days and then finishing it up, and gifting it has been really special. Okay, now my works in progress. I only have one work in progress right now. This is the Stick Season Sweater by the Creabea, which is Rebecca. Chloe, I think is her last name. And I have finished the back and almost finished the front, and then I'm picking up the neckband before I join them. And it has this lovely detail on the back. I think those are just beautiful joins right there. Yes, I'm using my Drops Lima. So I know like everyone has made a stick season sweater. It's like the song of the year, the sweater of the year, perhaps. I was a little behind on both. Two of my dear friends were very kind to me when they said, do you know this song when it came on? And I said, no, because I just listened to kids' music and like, you know, that's all. And so they introduced me to the song and the artist without judgment. But I did feel a little bit embarrassed after I saw all of like how popular he is and whatnot. And I was like, oh gosh, I did not know about him at all. But anyway, this is a stick season sweater, and Rebecca made it like because of the song and inspired by the song, and she did a collaboration with Explore Knits and Fibers. So it came out like maybe a month or two ago, and I had wanted to make it right when it came out. And so I posted on Instagram and I got a few questions about it, and I'll kind of share vague details because I'm not trying to start any kind of controversy or anything. But basically what happened was someone reached out for a yarn swap, and I had the yarn they were looking for. They had yarn in the same, like they had the same yarn but a different color. So I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I would love to trade. I would love that color. It would be perfect for the stick season sweater. And so we decided to do a yarn swap. I mailed my yarn. My yarn arrived at their house. And then the yarn never came to me. And I have not been able to reach them since. And it's been a couple of months. And so I was really bummed. Like, I'm just hoping that they're okay and that there's not something serious going on. And maybe they just took an unannounced Instagram break because, you know, it was the sweater's quantity of yarn. And I was excited because since I wasn't buying yarn this year, I thought, okay, I'm going to get sort of new to me yarn for this sweater I really want to make. So I guess it was maybe a lesson for me not to just like willy-nilly send out yarn. I've had lovely experiences like yarn swapping with knitting friends and like on YouTube, knitting friends on here, on Instagram. And so I was just surprised when this one didn't work out. I was like kind of bummed because about the yarn, yes, but also because like I'd like to think that all the knitting people are just, you know, good intentions and like generous, like all the people I've met thus far have been. So I was just bummed about that. And yeah. So anyway, I was like, I still want to make the sweater. I really like the sweater, so I want to make it. And so I went through my yarn pantry and I found my Drops Lima. I had originally ordered like a ton of this yarn for the, I don't know, some petite knit pattern, but it was very size limited in the size range, and so I decided not to. Then I had a ton of yarn because it was a brioche project, and so I will definitely have enough yarn for this project, and I'm really excited how it's turning out. I hadn't used this yarn before. People have mixed views on it, so we'll see. I'll let you know. I'm sure it will pill. All my stuff pills because I just wear it really often and really hard. But yeah, I'm loving how it's turning out. And I can't wait to wear it. I feel like this will be really good for just like jeans, park day, just that kind of thing. Just hoping for like the casual sort of classic throwover sweater. I feel like I'm gonna need to make more than one. It's not going like super quickly like a chunky weight, but it's also not like, did I make any progress? Like a lighter weight yarn. So I'm liking the DK weight. I sized up for needles because my swatch was much too small on the called for needles, which is a US 4. And so then when I was making these use a US 5. So I just use this as my swatch, and I hope that that's okay. But if not, it's all right. It'll be fine. So yes, this is my stick season. Okay, now for my acquisitions. I do have 2 new things to share with you today. The first is some yarn. This is Camper by Kelbourne Woolens. In 2 different colors. So this is the fingering weight or lightweight version of their Scout yarn, which is one of my first and dearest yarns that I use, and I love using it. So I went to a new yarn shop. There's a new yarn shop in Raleigh, local-ish friends. if you are localish to me, there's a new yarn shop. I would say it's worth a visit for sure. I'm not leaving my other local yarn shop, but this was lovely to go visit. I was over by it, and so I thought I'd go in. I was looking for yarn for my brother-in-law. I was looking for specific yarn at the shop, but when I went, they were sold out of it. So I was like, you know what, I'm still gonna buy yarn here for him because I'm here, and the owner was so kind. So it's called Oak City Fibers. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's in like the Falls Village area, if you know where that is. So it just opened up. It's next to a lovely coffee and sort of like brunch Indian restaurant. So you could go get your coffee and tea and then yarn. Some of the people in the shop told me that's what they were doing. They're like, oh, we're gonna go get some coffee next door. It's really good. You should come sometime. So anyway, I came in, and the owner, Glenn, so kind. He welcomed me to the shop, gave me an overview of himself, how he sort of got the shop open, and then he gave me a full tour of the yarn store. I felt so welcomed. I highly recommend it. I loved meeting him and all of his patrons that seemed to be like, they're just hang out there all the time. So he was so kind. So I highly recommend Oak City Fibers, Raleigh, North Carolina, just for like a welcoming space. He had a wonderful price range of yarns. That's what he was telling me about that. That he had ranges from like very commercial yarn that is very inexpensive to like super expensive hand-dyed, hand-spun yarn, which is very cool to have both. But anyway, he had camphor, and I wanted to get this for my brother-in-law, and I got 2 different colors because I didn't know which he would like more. And I ended up wrapping up this and putting it under the tree. And if he does not like it, then I will trade it out for this. And I will just keep the other ones for gift knitting or for myself or something like that, because I just like this yarn. So I didn't think it would be a waste to buy it. If he didn't like it, I'll just switch it and hope for the best. Yeah, great first impression of the new yarn shop in Raleigh. Yeah, just very positive time, and wonderful to support someone's dream, you know, coming true and getting to open their yarn shop. So it was wonderful, but I will have this in my yarn pantry. And so maybe I'll make something with it soon. I might have to get more, or unless it's for a gift knit, and then I can just make something else with it. But very happy with this purchase. Hopefully my brother-in-law is as well. So my last acquisition is something that was gifted to me, and it's gonna be a little crinkly. A dear friend had these made for me. So kind. What have I done to deserve such kind friends? So they are labels with my Hannah G knits on them and little yarn balls. So yeah, I was like, this is like a non-fire, like she, you know, she's very creative and crafty, but she does like painting and embroidery and things like that. So not really knitting. And she went out and found something so kind and special, and like these are so cute and adorable, but also just that she thought about me enough to like, you know, have something custom made for me. So kind. I think this label will go really nicely with this sweater because the pinks are very similar. You put it in the back, and yeah, so I got some of these as a kind Christmas gift. I'm actually really excited for Christmas because I think I might be getting some yarn related items. I think. So I might have, like for my next acquisitions, I might actually have more things to share because, yeah, might be getting some Christmas things from friends and family. So that's exciting. Anyway, the last thing I want to talk about is some roundup videos. It's the end of the year. I know roundup videos are coming. Last year I made every garment I made this year, and you guys seem to like that. I was also thinking about, so I think I'll do that again, but I was also thinking about, let me know if this is crazy, but I was thinking about doing a everything I'm frogging in 2024, because, so the idea would be like, I just show you all my projects I didn't finish this year or last year, and I commit to frogging them and potentially frog them like there while I'm recording the video. Sort of for like accountability, but also just normalizing. Sometimes projects don't work out, also just for fun, and because I really want to reclaim some of this yarn that's been sitting in half-finished projects for quite some time. But would that be a video you'd like to watch? I'm not sure. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking about doing, starting 2024 off with frogging a bunch of projects and reclaiming that yarn. Okay, if I don't see you before Christmas and the New Year, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I hope you have a lovely time with family and a lot of time to knit. Happy knitting!